Uncharted 2 is by far my favorite Uncharted game in the series. Is that because of nostalgia glasses? Could be, but I remember playing through the game multiple times. A total of 3 actually, and loving it every time. Are some mechanics outdated compared to Uncharted 4's refined gameplay? Since it does add a pretty cool grappling hook and also improves on the cover system in Uncharted 2 quite a bit. But what I mainly want to focus in this video is the prologues of the 2 games. I want to examine the differences in the prologues of Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 4, and why I think Uncharted 2 had a much stronger start, which also made for a stronger game overall.
What's going on? That's my blood. That's my blood. It's a lot of my blood. Oh, God.
The game starts off on such a high note, with our protagonist Nathan Drake hanging off the edge of a train, which is also hanging off the edge of a cliff, seemingly struggling to climb as he has a gunshot wound in his gut. As he climbs with labored breathing, the train slowly starts to fall as you climb upward, with Nathan leaving blood all over the seats of the train as he continues to climb. Finally, making it near the top of the train, Nathan, exhausted at this point, must make a break for it through the last part of the train and onto the cliff. Nathan then collapses from exhaustion and remembers a conversation he once had with a man named Flynn and a mysterious girl named Chloe, who talked to Nathan and convinced him to join them on their search for Marco Polo's lost treasure.
You in then?
What the hell? I mean, what could possibly go wrong?
Well, a lot apparently. The game continues as you must stagger through the cold in nothing but a shirt and jeans. This leaves you with quite a few questions. How did Nathan get here? Who injured him? Why isn't he wearing the proper clothes for being in this snowy environment? How did the train get to hanging off the edge of a freaking cliff in the first place? All of these questions are answered in due time, and it's awesome to experience the events leading up to what's portrayed in the climactic prologue. I know those terms don't really go together, but when it comes to Uncharted 2, it really does. Another thing I wanted to quickly point out is how well these scripted events are done in Uncharted 2. When I compare them to the scripted events in Uncharted 4, they just don't feel as bombastic and satisfying as this. Especially being that Nathan is injured during the prologue, which makes this all the harder to watch. When Nathan collapses once again, the game gives us another flashback, informing us that Nathan and Chloe actually have a relationship.
Hello.
Wait a minute, Chloe.
If it makes you feel
Chloe also has a relationship with Flynn, with Chloe telling Nathan that it's strictly professional.
Figured out he was actually on to something.
The two plot to use Flynn's help to get the treasure, split it 3 ways, and then disappear, deciding it's best to keep Flynn out of the loop from their plan.
We pull the heist, we find the ships, and we make off with the treasure.
With Flynn.
Mm-hmm.
And then?
And then we split the take 3 ways, and you and I just disappear. Together, this time.
I see.
Until then, he can't know about us.
These flashbacks leave you with even more questions. Did Chloe betray you? Did Flynn find out about their plan? What happened with the mission? Were they able to get Marco Polo's treasure? There's so much to swallow in the first 10 minutes of the game, it's ridiculous. Ridiculously amazing storytelling, that is. I would also compare Uncharted 2's Prologue to the beginning of John Wick. Both start with our heroes in a sticky situation, seemingly on the verge of death, and both serve as an effective means of being an attention hook. Both are also critically acclaimed, so who would have thought? I actually couldn't find any clips of the beginning of John Wick, but go check the beginning of that movie out and then come back to this video and let me know in the comments down below what similarities you see. Uncharted 4 tries to do something similar to the climactic prologue I mentioned earlier, although in my opinion, I don't think Uncharted 4 succeeds in the same way. You start the game with an intense boat chase, as in, you're the one being chased, with a man named Sam, who you figure out later is your older brother. The chase ends with your boat being rammed and the screen goes to black.
As fast as this thing will go.
That's just about the extent of it. This didn't really leave me questioning in the same way that Uncharted 2 did. Sure, I was questioning who Sam was, as you didn't know at this point, and I was also questioning who exactly was chasing the Drake brothers, but the answers to these questions just aren't as satisfying. You learn who Sam is literally minutes after the prologue ends. And also, it doesn't really matter who the men are that are chasing the Drake brothers. Nathan has been through countless adventures at this point and has been chased by all kinds of different enemies. At this point in the game, I just don't have much of a reason to care about why they're chasing me. That's just typical Uncharted at this point. In Uncharted 2, I was excited when I finally caught up to the events in the prologue. In Uncharted 4, it just felt like another regular old chapter. And I definitely didn't really care to see what happened after the boat ramming, as much as I did to see what happened to Nathan after he collapses in the middle of that snowy mountain. I understand that the same thing couldn't be done for Uncharted 4's prologue as Uncharted 2, as Naughty Dog had already portrayed an injured Nathan Drake. But I think they could have done better than a generic boat chase with a crash at the end. However, this doesn't mean that Uncharted 4 doesn't have amazing sections. I loved all the open areas that allowed you to drive around in the Jeep, and I especially loved the Jeep chase sequence in Uncharted 4. The grappling hook definitely allows for some pretty cool set pieces to take place. As Nathan would say, holy crap, what a spectacle to watch. Let's get back to the prologue before I get too off track here. Spoilers for Uncharted 4's plot ahead, so if you guys want to turn back now, go for it. You learn that Sam and Nathan are brothers, and you also learn how they became the treasure hunters we, the player, know them as. Sam's disappearance is explained in a prison section of the game, where during the escape, Sam seems to be shot and
Imagine
killed.
that.
Nathan must leave him to die, as there's no way to save him.
Sam, no.
Damn it.
No, you hold on! Hold on! Sam! Give me your other arm! Come on, reach! No! Sam!
Later on in the game, he miraculously reappears in Nathan's life, seemingly after Uncharted 1, 2, and 3's events. Nathan seems to have retired from being a treasure hunter in favor of having a regular job and settling down with Elena from the first Uncharted game.
A lot of trouble.
Sam asks him to go on a treasure hunt with him,
What?
one last time, as he has a debt to settle with a drug lord. So Nathan agrees to help, telling himself that it's for the sake of his brother.
Yeah, he's the drug lord. Mm-hmm. Butcher of Panama, right? Why?
It's a funny story, but last year he was my cellmate. So this is how I got out of prison.
Even if Uncharted 4 does take much longer than Uncharted 2 to set up its plot, as by the time you get done learning about everything having to do with Sam and Nathan in Uncharted 4, Uncharted 2 has already finished with Nathan sneaking into a high-security museum and getting betrayed by Flynn. However, I do think that 4's plot begins to gain traction after the relationship between Sam and Nathan has finally been established. Even still, the payoff between 2 and 4 are on completely different levels, with 4 being much worse of a payoff than Uncharted 2. I think a big part of why I feel this way is that Uncharted 2's villain, Lazarevich, is a much more compelling villain than Uncharted 4's villain, Rafe. Just check out how Lazarevich is introduced.
But it's over. He can't go any further.
We can't just leave him here to die.
He is as good as dead already, and so are we if we don't go now.
Then go.
Yeah, nobody's stopping you.
Chloe.
I was trying to save your skin, you idiot.
Okay, let's break this down a bit. So Chloe betrays Nathan and Elena out of sheer fear of whoever is about to come in within the next few seconds.
Chloe? What is this?
Sorry.
Drop the guns. Seriously.
Get her out of here. She's hurt. Take her to the train. Unbelievable. You just can't help yourself, can you? I guess that makes us even. Not quite.
Flynn backs away from the shot to let Lazarevich into the scene, which shows how much bigger of a deal Lazarevich really is. Not only that, the music rises and tenses as Lazarevich enters the room.
So, this little man is Drake. Did you carry him all the way from the temple? Shame. No! Now, tell me what you found in the temple.
The answer that you're looking for. Okay? I know where the stone is, but you're not gonna find it without me. So just let her go, and I will lead you right to it.
Usually, this works pretty well for Nathan. Bargaining is his strong point. But as you'll see in a few seconds, it doesn't really work out as well for him this time, now that Lazarevich is on the scene.
Come on.
That is brilliant, mate. Here.
It appears you have nothing to bargain with, Mr. Drake.
He kills Jeff, threatens Elena, and completely outsmarts Nathan. Now, let's compare Lazarevich with Rafe.
You want to renegotiate? Fine. Stop acting like a third world thug. Put the gun away. Thank you. We're willing to give you 10%.
Think half.
We're doing most of the work, 20, and you'd never find it without us.
25 equals
25. Does that sound fair, guys?
Suppose I can live with that.
Sure. I mean, 400 million divides nicely by 4.
Looks like we have a deal.
Yes, we have a deal. And if you ever cross me again...
Jesus.
That's that.
Are you out of your goddamn mind?
You want to find out?
Now that you guys have seen both scenes, let's compare the two. We see in Lazarevich's intro that he is menacing, aggressive. The camera pans out, showing that Flynn is not as big as a threat to you as Lazarevich is. Meanwhile, the only sort of complexity we see in Rafe's scene is him killing a guard unexpectedly. I just don't think there's enough to really sell Rafe to me as a villain, and perhaps later in the game he does a bit of a better job, but I felt right more absorbed and entwined in Lazarevich as a villain right from the start of when he was first introduced to me as a character. Even comparing their two distinctive boss fights, with Rafe being a sword fight and Lazarevich being a more or less all-out brawl with you constantly running away from him, and due to him being immune to your bullet shots, I think obviously one sounds much more entertaining than the other. Uncharted 4's epilogue, which takes place a few years after the end of Uncharted 4, was a great, wonderful, spectacular way to end the series. However, Uncharted 4's standalone ending, in my opinion, felt incredibly lacking. Remember how what I said earlier with Uncharted 4's payoff not being as good as Uncharted 2's? Well, the main reason because of this is the whole dynamic of the relationship between Nathan and Sam. Their relationship is built up as this unbreakable bond. These brothers are just unstoppable together, and Nathan gives up everything for Sam. He lies to Elena, he pushes his friends away, and just goes down a path of complete darkness and has nothing left but his brother. And so, when Nathan discovers that Sam lied to Nathan about owing a drug lord in the first place, he loses even his own brother. And then from there, things just start getting better all of a sudden. It really comes out of left field, nothing really feels earned, and then the game just kind of ends. Uncharted 2 will always be my favorite game in the Uncharted series. And Uncharted 4 will always be the greatest end to one of my most beloved series, and I will continue to hold it in high regard. Regardless, please let me know down in the comments below which Uncharted game is your favorite. Guys, I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, please make sure to hit that subscribe and ring that bell to make sure to continue to get notifications about future videos. And please make sure to hit that like button. It really helps me out and supports me. I will catch you guys in the next video.